Caller says, Marion, will your panel be talking about the recent Climategate scandal of the leaked emails from the Climate Research Unit in East Anglia University that showed global warming data was being manipulated to artificially show CO2 was causing global warming? I've heard no mention of this scandal in the Irish media yet. These leaked emails could show that man-made climate change is being the biggest scientific scam in the 21st century. You've been very quiet there, Brendan.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things. I mean, unfortunately, it models the terrible stuff we've been hearing about the church, in the sense that you've had collusion among a group of people. I'm not denying there isn't climate change or anything else, because it hasn't been covered here. In fact, only yesterday in the New York Times, a guy called Refkin, who's been a huge twist, always talking about climate change. We got to, New York's going to be flooded tomorrow. A week after it all came out, has a very lame article about it. It is a kind of horror story in the sense that scientists are supposed to be open. I mean, we'll be talking about the church a bit later on. And they've been admitting to one another that they haven't the data. Like some guy saying, for example, there's a whole lot of meteorological stations in Canada. He says, are they there? I'm trying to find out about them. He says, this data is as bad as the Australian stuff. Another guy, I won't use the language on things, he's been working all the weekend. He says, I know from some psychology, you can't calculate with data which have different kind of meanings to them. And he says, I'm doing this, and people are saying, the poor guy, again with bad language, it's going nowhere. So you're getting a whole lot of stuff. For example, one of the worst things for me, there's a thing called peer review in a magazine or a journal. So you can't publish, Darren would know all about it, in such and such, unless your peers check out your article, is it a load of nonsense or not. Okay, so they are threatening people who have these journals. If you print such and such, you made a big mistake, this would be like about 6 or 7 years ago, you published that, and they're warning them that if you keep doing that, we won't send you any more articles, we'll finish off your journal. And so this is all in there, the language is off. And so for example, another guy said they're just delighted he's dead because he's a thorn in their side. So I've always suspected, I'm not an expert, I'm not a scientist, but I've always felt the issue of non-openness. For example, only today in the Sunday Telegraph, at the East Anglia University, which you would say, where's that? They're the Pentagon of this kind of stuff. This Climate Research Unit is the gold standard for a whole lot of kind of UN stuff and everything else. And effectively, they're now today saying, it's again so like my own diocese, let's say, or anywhere else, they're only now saying we're going to now allow people to see. They've loads of stuff based on ring bark and everything else. They've never let the statistics out before. And we know why now, at least I would suggest.
Why?
Because of these thousands of emails that were hacked into, showed up on a Russian site, and have now become available to everyone else. Now, they're worried about the criminality. How dare anyone do it? But I think there was a huge public... They've even emails warning one another to destroy the files. That's a crime in England. I don't know about the States. To destroy stuff if there's a Freedom of Information inquiry about it. To get rid of this, to get rid of that, and so on and so forth. So you're getting a big cover-up just before Copenhagen. I really hope that... I would love to see the Irish Times correspondent who generally wears the behind off me every day, whatever his name, Frank, what's his name? I just find them...
Frank
they're so preachy.
MacDonald?
They're so totally preachy. I will mention no names. In other words, at least to discuss it. Give us
Frank
an article on it. Yeah, give us an article on it next week. In other words, all the blog sites have it. The scientists all know about it. But your listener there is dead right. There's been huge silence in Ireland about
But there's also been huge confusion because there is no agreement on climate change, and the so-called experts or the scientists don't agree on it either. And I mean, of course you can go back historically and say there were floods, there were very bad floods. If you take the East Wall area of Dublin, for example, in the 1950s, or go all the way back.
Yes, but on the other hand, if you're looking at the meteorological records which are brought out, I mean, really now, I'm not going to take on a huge kind of conspiracy theory that everybody in the Met Office here, for instance, all the people that we see giving forecasts on Radio Éireann and RTE are all in a big plot sending emails to each other. I really don't like this conspiracy theory.
Okay.
But perhaps we might accept that the actual figures about the rise in heat and the rise in warmth is happening. Now, whether it's due to human actions is one thing, but it's certainly happening, and it has happened over the centuries, over the thousands of years, that climate gets warmer or colder, as the case may be.
Okay, we will leave that for the moment.